So recently I looked at my YouTube recap for 2025. That's where YouTube shows you all your greatest stats over which channels you watch the most, what music you listen to, which communities you were the most active in, all of that. One thing that I found insanely interesting was that when I looked at my top 5 most viewed YouTube channels for the year, not a single one of them had anything to do with Fortnite. What I realized after reflecting on these stats is this: I absolutely hate Fortnite content. I can't stand it. I don't like to watch it. I haven't watched it, quite frankly, for most of this year. Now listen, I know that sounds crazy because I make Fortnite content, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I love making Fortnite content. I enjoy the production of coming up with new Fortnite theories or making commentary videos like this or skits, whatever I'm in the mood of doing. I enjoy expressing my great creativity through the lens of Fortnite. I also need to make this very clear. A lot of the things I'm going to say are probably going to upset a lot of people, but I think this is a conversation the community needs to have, because there are a few things that quite frankly have been irking me for some time, some which I don't think I've ever talked about on this channel, and I just think that this is a good time to bring them to light as I'm reflecting on what it is about Fortnite content and honestly the broader community that is just a bit distasteful to me right now. The third thing I want to bring up as a bit of a disclaimer before we get into the weeds of this is I don't want you to think that I'm talking crap about any creator that makes a specific type of content. I'm not here to attack their character, them as people. I have met so many amazing people in the Fortnite space, and even though I don't enjoy everyone's content, they are beautiful people. I just do not enjoy the vast majority of Fortnite content that exists out there. The last thing I think I need to make very clear is that I'm not saying that there's no good Fortnite content that exists. That's not true at all. There are so many fantastic creators out there that make amazing content. As a matter of fact, the people whose content I don't like, it's very well put together. From a production standpoint, it's very well scripted, it's very well edited, it's thought through. It fundamentally is good product, right? Like, it's not necessarily that the content is bad, at least from a technical standpoint. It's just that the content is not for me. Kind of like Teletubbies, right? Like, Teletubbies is not a bad show for preschoolers, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch it. And quite frankly, right at this moment, Fortnite content to me feels like Teletubbies. When I watch a lot of Fortnite content, especially in the short form feed, I feel like I'm being talked at, not talked to. I don't feel like I'm having a conversation or learning something new or insightful or seeing a different aspect of the game that I've never seen before. It feels like the same repetitive, rebranded content over and over and over again between different creators. Especially amongst the top creators in the space, I feel like for the majority of them, I could watch their videos on someone else's channel. There isn't really a whole lot of difference between the type of content that's being put out. I think the biggest reason why this frustrates me is because I came up in the era where Fortnite, when it first came out, when the game was brand new, all the content was so authentic, and that has been lost, and it hurts. I feel like everyone is trying to fit within a certain archetype. There's this family-friendly PC persona that must be adhered to at all times, and if you stray away from that, you kind of get ostracized or put on the outskirts of the community, especially when it comes to like events or doing things in public or collaborations, right? And I'll get to more of that a little bit later. Getting back to authenticity, I think that that's a huge problem that kind of bleeds out into all the areas of frustration that I have when it comes to this game. For example, talking about how everyone feels like a clone of the other person. I will give you the best example I think I can give for this. I want to paint a picture for you. Imagine you are doom scrolling on your TikTok timeline and you come across a Fortnite video, and the first thing you hear is a person talking in this tone and this cadence. Fortnite just added one of the most crazy things I've ever seen. You won't believe how this changed it forever. The Fortnite Chapter 7 island has absolutely gone through drastic changes. It's transformed. I don't know why everyone feels the need to talk like this. Everything I say ends in a question, and then sometimes I'll switch up my pitch and talk low like this to try to add dramatic effect, but it all just sounds the same. Here's the problem with this kind of content. The people that are making those types of videos, do you think that they talk to their friends like that? When you sit down and have a conversation with somebody, do you talk to them like that? Imagine that for a second. You're sitting there, you're asking your friend, hey, John, what do you want to eat today? And John comes back to you and is like, you know, I heard that McDonald's is getting rid of their all-day breakfast, so maybe we should go down and get a McGriddle and maybe a hash brown, and I could really go for an orange juice. John, what the f are you doing? No one in their right mind would have a conversation with a human being like that. And sometimes when you watch these people on stream, the vocal inflections, their tone, their cadence, their diction is completely different than how they are in their content. But look, maybe it's the case that a lot of these people just don't know how to be themselves on camera. Like, it takes time to get comfortable in front of a camera and be able to talk in front of a camera. Even I am still getting comfortable with it after doing this for 4.5 years. But listen, this is not a speech and debate class, and I'm not trying to sit here and try to teach everybody how to be the best orator. That's not the goal here, but it's just like, man, I wish people would tap into more of their own personality rather than feeling like they have to fit in some kind of box. But I think I know the reason why they do, and it's because the vast majority of content creators that I see collaborating with others in specific spaces, it's very cliquish. There's a lot of politics when it comes to this content creation game, when it comes to this Fortnite game. And I've noticed that there are just certain camps of people that just do not interact with other camps. People are afraid to expand outside of their close friend circles and talk to new people because every person that they meet might be a brand risk. And you know what? To be fair, I kind of get it, because even in my time, I've had some experiences when trying to reach out and collaborate with people where not only has it bit me in the back, but they try to talk crap about me afterwards. To be fair to the larger creators, there are a lot of snakes out here, and the issue is, especially if you're somebody on the higher tier, you really don't know who to trust. But that's unfortunate, because what it does is it creates an environment where the content creation space, the Fortnite space specifically, it's very segregated in a way that it shouldn't be. When I look at the Fortnite community, there's like 3 different tiers to content creators. You got the guys at the top, a lot of them are the legacy content creators. You have guys kind of in the middle like me and Loot Station. We're kind of known around the space, but we're not like super famous, but we do have good followings. And then you have guys that are like below that are kind of up and coming. And listen, some of the up-and-comers have really good followings, really strong communities, and they make fantastic content. The follower count, even the view count, doesn't even tell you necessarily the quality of the content that's being produced. However, the more you get into the weeds, especially when you start going to conventions, you start to see these little cliques that are being formed, and you see certain people only wanted to talk to certain people. And you start to wonder, why do certain people only collaborate with other people over here? Because it's like, you know, if you just went and talked to guy B over here, guy Z, and you would have a fantastic time on stream together. You could make some banger content. You could step outside of your comfort zone. Outside of worrying if people are going to snake you or not, I honestly think a lot of it just comes out of fear. But also, once again, and this is something that was illuminated to me by members of my community, if you do not fit a certain archetype, a certain family-friendly archetype, that is definitely going to limit the amount of people, the certain types of people that will reach out to you and collaborate. But here's my thing and my policy. I never want to sacrifice my authenticity for the sake of a bag or for the sake of more collaboration. This is what you start to realize after you've been doing this for a while and after you've accomplished certain things, right? Like, I'm not really trying to prove, me personally, I'm speaking for myself here, I'm not trying to prove myself to creators that are larger than me. I'm trying to be the best content creator for my community, for my family, and to further my career with the goals that I have in mind. And listen, I love the Fortnite community. I love my time in the space. And like I said, I love making content, but God bless, I just do not enjoy watching it. It's become such a chore. It's so boring. It's so safe. Even I had to sit down with myself and ask, what the hell am I doing? Like, there were certain things that I knew that I was good at that I just wasn't doing for a while. And I had to kind of get back to being a bit more experimental with my content this year. And praise God that I did, because I learned so much by not staying in one specific box. The last thing I think bugs me the most, and this one is really the big one, it's not just the segregation that we have between the different kinds of cliques in the Fortnite community, but just the level of venom that exists between different groups of people. I will see content creators on that lower tier going for people on an equal level as them or even above them to try to bring them down to get views and get clicks and to talk mess about other creators, regardless of if you have a point or not. All that does is it kind of festers more drama, especially when you start making videos or hit pieces on creators that you know the community doesn't like. The thing is, guys, and I'm gonna be so real, I will make a video that I know will frustrate my community if I believe that the message that I have is true. I will not sit here and sugarcoat anything for anybody just to get brownie points from the community. And sometimes I feel like the videos that are made, even if there are a lot of good points that are made in that piece of content, I feel like the people that are making the videos are doing so they can feel warm and fuzzy and get the pat on the back from the rest of the Fortnite community because it's an easy position to take. You're not having to be revolutionary by the stance that you're taking. You're not saying anything profound. You're not really standing for anything other than just being another person amongst the crowd of many that are saying something about person Z that is terrible because you and everybody else want to virtue signal and say that person Z is a terrible human being. The thing that I realize is this, and somebody, a real close friend of mine, or another content creator in the space, said something that was very profound to me earlier this year when we were at TwitchCon. He said, you know, the content creators that are doing really well right now are the ones that are having fun, that are showing their communities how to have fun. And the thing is, I want to continue to do that with you guys, but I don't want to have fun with you at the expense of somebody else. Now listen, I'm not saying that anybody is above criticism. Lord knows that I'm not. I'm not saying that you can't criticize other people, but at the same time, I think that a lot of people, when they do go into being critical of other creators, I think they act in bad faith. These are people that would never sit down and actually have a conversation with the creator that they are talking about. Whereas for my personal philosophy and what I've always tried to do, if I have a disagreement with somebody, I am more than willing to sit down and have a conversation with you about it. I will not say anything on camera that I would not say to you personally. And I have met creators that are the complete opposite. They will say something about you on camera, and the moment you confront them, they will curl up into a ball or act like it didn't happen. And that's the kind of stuff that really frustrates me about this space. But this is the nature of entertainment. Whether it's Fortnite commentary videos or Hollywood or the music industry, it's the same thing. Anytime you're having to deal with entertainment, it's egos, and it's always about managing and balancing out the different clashing egos. I love building relationships with people. I love building bridges. I love the friendships and the relationships that I built over the last few years by doing this. I have met some beautiful people, and I am so excited to see what next year brings. But if I'm being quite honest with you guys, Fortnite content, at least me absorbing it to any serious capacity, it's just not going to be there. And I think a lot of you guys have been feeling the same way. A lot of people, I think, are kind of tired of the status quo when it comes to Fortnite content. Some things really need to be shaken up. Part of what spurred me to have this conversation was the last video that we made where we were talking about how Fortnite is kind of growing up. And I think it's time that the content creators start doing the same. This watered down, safe, family friendly, ultra PC content is just not going to do it. And once again, this doesn't mean that there aren't other content creators out there that are more edgy, that do crazier stuff. But when you look at the totality of everything that I'm bringing to the table here, I think we as a community have a lot of things that we need to work on. And moving forward into next year, even if Fortnite doesn't end up becoming my primary focus anymore, I still want to be a positive light in this community to some degree. I love the community I built with all of you guys, but I think moving forward into next year, it might be time to make some drastic changes.